Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Thank you to everybody who came here to the Kol Olav Shalom. Welcome back, and welcome to our YouTube channel, subscribers and viewers, and to anybody who watches us through Torah anytime. Welcome to people on Zoom. And let's just dive right away. We said all the dedications already. Allah Refuah Tzvinacha Bat Golorochel Chana Batsima and all the choilim from the war and otherwise, betoch shachol Yisrael. Ela mantana, tes vav amud aleph at the very, very bottom of the page. Let's just go. Ela mantana. Yesterday we were searching, and you know what? We still are searching today for the Tana who does not believe that the Gzera Shova Sochir exists. We are learning about Eved Ivri. Eved Ivri, we said there are two types of Avod Ivrim. One that was sold by himself because he was just, pressed for money. He wanted to sell himself. The other one was sold by BSD because he stole. And in any event, both of them, both of them are Eved Ivri, but they have different halachas. There's a whole set of halachas that applies to Eved Ivri sold through Din, and those halachas do not apply to the one who is sold by himself. And then there was a question, a debate, whether we believe in Gzer Shova, Sochir. Yeah, it says in both of them, word Sochir appears in both parshas, one Eved and the other two. And we said that there is a man de Omar that doesn't believe that Gzer Shova is true. In other words, he didn't get it from his Rabbi Sob. Yeah, and v'chule v'chule. We did not yet find that man de Omar, that Tana, who doesn't think that the Gzer Shova Sochir is a real, valid Gzer Shova. The question is, who is that Tana? Will that mysterious Tana please appear from somewhere? Ela, man Tana delo yoliv Sochir. Who is the Tana that does not learn the Gzer Shova Sochir? We're searching through different brises to see who is it. Says the Gemara, Rebbe. It is Rebbe, the Tanya. Rebbe is now talking about neither of the avodim that we learned about. We are learning now about a different kind of sochir. We're learning now about an Eved Ivri that was sold to a goy. And at this happy moment, I advise you to stop looking in the Gemara and look at the papers in front of you, or we have it on screen. Yeah, Veikra Chafei, thank you very, very much to Tzvi Rosen, who's always there for us to print everything so nicely. Thank you, Tzvi. Last moment. I appreciate it. And Perek Chafei from Psukim Mem Zayin till the end of the parsha, it talks about a yid that was sold to a goy. I'm not going to read everything. We'll just sold himself. Sold to a goy by himself. Nobody sells a yid to a goy. No way. He sold himself to a goy. The Kitzer, there is a Jew, he is mach. The Jew is unfortunately, he was impoverished, he's poor. I'm not explaining everything, we don't have time, but basically he was sold to a goy who lives in Eretz Yisrael. You have to redeem ASAP. Chas v'sholom to sell him to a goy. We are concerned that he will get bad influence, by that goy. The goy may be over the Zara, or may have unfiltered internet at home. Now, Memtes, this is an important pasuk which we'll analyze later. Who's supposed to redeem that Jew from the goy? Either the family member, cousin, uncle, cousin. They have to, anybody from the family is mechuyev to redeem the Jew from goyim. Wow, this is so relevant. The pasuk shot of the pasuk, before we go to the droshes, he himself won the lottery. Yeah, all of a sudden, while working to the goy, he got an email. Yeah, he won the lottery, or his rich uncle from wherever, I don't know, from Iran died, and he now, what happened? He's rich all of a sudden. Then Venigal, what does he do? He wants to redeem himself from the goy. Pasuk Nun says the next pasuk, basically from Psukim Nun till Nun Beis, it tells you again and again that you have to redeem him, and if not, you have to basically redeem him by the calculation of Yovel. How do you redeem the yid from a goy? Also, with calculation of Yovel, let's say it's 20 years left until Yovel, you have to pay the goy for 20 years. Yeah, in other words, as we're going to see later, by goyim, We're talking here about a guy that has to listen to our rules. This is a guy who's under us, under our rules, and his avodim ivrim also go out beyovel, right? And then it says nun gimel kisochir shona b'shona. You see the word kischir shona b'shona, pasuk nun gimel. I put it in bold because you see that this yid Eved is also called sochir. Make sure that it doesn't mistreat him, it doesn't abuse him. And then pasuk Nandaled, also an important pasuk we're going to analyze. If these people, the relatives or otherwise, if they don't redeem him, then at the yovel he comes out of the hands of the goy. Yeah. Now yeah, says the Kodesh Baruch Hu, this is the crescendo, the final pasuk. Avodahem, yeah, the Jews are my avodim, not avodim of neither Tim McKenzie nor Tom McKinley, definitely not Abdul Rahman. This is a very short overview. We're going to, believe me, cut up these psukim very nicely, Memtes and Undalad especially. But basically, we see there's a situation of a yid that's sold to a goy. We see that what? First of all, ideally, ASAP, make sure, especially if you're a relative, and even if you're not a relative, what do you have to do? Redeem quickly, pay the money to the goy and get him out of the hands of the goy, out of his clutches. We're talking specifically of the Zara, bad influence. Yeah, and then what happens next? If that doesn't happen, then you have to, you don't have to, then the Yovel is mafkia. Yovel gets the Eved Ivri out of the hands of the goy. This is basically what the Torah says. Questions are absolutely not welcome now. Definitely not if would be questions, because it's just the intro. Rabbi Omer, it says in the Torah, as we saw in the Pasuk, you're welcome to follow the Psukim. We're now talking Pasuk Nundalid. If he will not be redeemed with those, meaning what? With the relatives. If the relatives don't redeem him, why don't they redeem him? That's a good question. But if they don't, then what? Rabbi Omer, nigal nigal b'shesh. Oh, did you notice? Have you noticed when we read the Psukim? Maybe I was too quick. But Lamaisa, we saw that the number 6, the Heilige number 6, which is very, very true regarding a Jew sold to another Jew, seems not to appear over here. Now says the Torah, Be'elu nigal, Be'ei nigal b'shesh. What does it mean, Be'ela? These. Only these are the ones who will redeem him. What are they? The relatives. Yeah, these excluding 6. 6 years does not, the period of 6 years does not get him out of the hands of the guy. We do not say that automatically after 6 years he gets out of the hands of the guy, only by a Jew. My question is, it's really the Gemara's hidden question. Why would I think otherwise? The Torah never spoke about 6. Why do you need the pasuk to exclude something that's not written there? Why should I think that 6 applies, right? It's not written in the whole, I showed you the whole parsha. Says the Gemara, Sheyochol, no, I could have used a kal v'homer. V'aloidinu, it's a kal v'chomer. Uma mi she'eino nigal be'ele, nigal b'shesh. A Jew that was sold to another Jew, let me ask you a question. Is that a mitzvah to redeem him from the house of the Jew? No. We spoke about pidyon and hefta. It's an option. It's an option. It's not a mitzvah. It's actually good for him. The idea is basically rehab. The idea is what? That, the Jew that stole, or in some cases, let him stay by a better guy's family, get whatever the whole program. Why should he redeem him so quickly? No. And therefore, it says v'hefda. If he wants to be paid himself, maybe a relative can do it, but it's not. There's no mitzvah there, bichlal. It's not one of the ways, that's mekubal dafka to do. Oh, umami she'einu nigal be'ele, a Jew who's not redeemed through his relatives, not necessarily, and yet nigal b'shesh, and yet we see that 6 years does the trick, and yes, nigal, he goes out by 6 years automatically, poof, like that. Zeh shenigal be'ele, and odin shenigal b'shesh. So the one who were so eager to get him out of the goy, get him out of the goy's house, all the relatives should make a meeting and collect money, get him out. No, kol sheken, he should be nigal, poof, after 6 years automatically. That's a heilige hava mina kal v'chomer. Talmud loymar be'ele. That's why the Torah comes and tells you that's a nice idea. Says the Torah, no, be'ele. The Torah says, right at the bottom pasuk, be'ele hu nigal, they nigal b'shesh. Oh, very nice, so nice. So the words be'ele, according to Rabbi, the words in pasuk nun daled, bimlo yigol be'ele, pasuk nun daled is telling me what? These and not others, which means he's not nigal through 6 years. Very nice. Okay. And by the way, that's halacha. I'm really ruining the whole fun, but I'm telling you the end of the story. A goy, if a Jew is sold to a goy, yoivel, yes, 6 years, no, yes, stay there until somebody redeems you, ASAP, or until the Jubilee year. Now, Freg the Gemara, I'll promise to your question very soon. Now, we're trying to prove what? That Rebbe does not believe in Sochir Sochir. Freg the Gemara, or the Gemara is suggesting, if you want to entertain the thought that there is a Gzer Shava Sochir Sochir, Amai Ka'oma, why do you say Uma Misha Eninigal Be'ele? Why did you assume so strongly, so clearly, that a Yid that's sold to a Yid, yeah, doesn't have the option or actually a mitzvah of the relatives to redeem him from his Jewish master? Why not? Nelif Sochir Sochir. Let's learn Sochir Sochir. You saw I made in bold in Posuk Nun Gimel at the beginning. Watch it live. Nun Gimel Kischir. So the one who is sold to a goy is also called a Sechir. If so, why don't you learn Sochir Sochir from who? Just like the one sold to an Akum. What about him? He's called a Sochir and he should be redeemed by the relatives. So to the one sold to Chaim Yankel Pachachovsky, the Chusid, what him? Also, you should redeem him also. Why? Because also there the word Sochir. Elamai must be what? You see what? You see the Rebbe, he's the one. He does not believe in Gzer Shava Sochir Sochir. We found him. Okay, the Gemara is not rejecting it, but I can hear questions now. Answers the Gemara, no. We did not find the Tana yet. Rebbe is not a Tana who's against the Gzer Shava Sochir Sochir. So what's Pshat? Amar Nachman bar Yitzchak, le'olam yolif Sochir Sochir. Could be that in general, Rebbe does believe in the Gzer Shava Sochir Sochir for other things. V'shayni hocho. Why over here we assumed so strongly with such an assumption that by a Yid there is no mitzvah on the relatives to redeem from a Yid, and we don't say the Gzer Shava Sochir Sochir. Why doesn't the Gzer Shava Sochir Sochir applies to Pidyon? Domar kro yigole nu. It says in the Torah yigole nu. Look in the Psukim. It says yigole nu. Oy doy doy ben doy doy yigole nu. Pasuk mem tes at the beginning. Oy doy doy ben doy yigole nu. Shab Psalm shatoy yigole nu. He should be goel him. It says twice, by the way. It's an extra word. Why do we say yigole nu? Lezeh velo leacher. When you talk about the cousins, the uncles, the brother, the sister, goyel him, it says be goyel him twice. Him, excluding who? Excluding UFOs, excluding the one sold to a Yid. Only this one sold to a goy should be mamish, seriously be redeemed by the relatives, as opposed to one sold to a Yid, which shouldn't. Ad kan Rebbe, so we did not yet find the Tana who doesn't believe in Sochir Sochir. Now we're going to leave that Sochir Sochir business alone for now, and we're going to discuss more the issue of 6 years. What did we say up until now? We said that 6 years does not apply to a goy who bought a Jew, right? He does not have to like the 6 years after the 6 years tenure. Yeah, we don't say that he goes out automatically. No, it's either you redeem him with money or wait for the yovel. As it says in the Torah. And 6 years we actually exclude. Okay, that's one thing we said. And let's see now, Uman Tana de Polig Alei de Rebbe. Who's the Tana that argues in Rebbe? We know that there are actually, in fact, two Tanoim who argue with Rebbe. And they learned the word Eile. If you look in the Psukim, what does it say in the last Pasuk, second to last? Im lo yigol be'eile. What did Rebbe say? Oh, Eile. These are the only ways to redeem the Jew from a goy by relatives, as opposed to 6 years. That's not a redemption. 6 years passed, nothing happened. We have two Tanoim who learned something else from the word be'ele. They argue on Rebbe. Who are these Tanoim? Rabbi Yossi Aglin and Rabbi Akiva. We now have a fascinating machlokes Rabbi Yossi Aglin and Rabbi Akiva, which will be with us till almost the end of the Shiur. The Tanya, listen carefully because this is like the basis for the entire structure we're going to see now. The Tanya, lo yigoel be'ele. So now let me just again read the pasuk. Do you know why I cut the pasuk into 2 lines? It wasn't a typo. Dim lo yigoel be'ele, and then there's a drop down. Second line, v'yotze b'shnasa yovel. If you read the pasuk shot of the pasuk before Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Akiva, what does it say? Im lo yigoel be'ele. If the relatives, from some odd reason, for 49 years did not redeem him. Okay, fine, nice guys. Hopefully, yeah, don't connect me to that family. They don't have money. Im loy goel with the relatives, then what happens? What's the next word? The yotzu b'shnas yovel who bon avimoy. Then he goes out in yovel from who? From the guy. He stays by Mackenzie, right? And then what happens? Then by the 50th year, he goes out. True, this is Pashup Pshat. However, both Rabbi Yosef Glili and Rabbi Akiva, they make a drosha out of this pasuk, a drosha which is beyond Pshat, way beyond Pshat. Look at what they say. Now, Titania, lo yigol be'ele. Rabbi Yosef Glili Omer, Rabbi Yosef Glili says as follows: be'ele l'shichru, v'shal kol odom l'shibud, which means, if these people, who are these people mentioned before? Uncle, cousin, relatives. If the relatives redeem him, he goes free, and free means free. He's not enslaved by anybody. B'shal kol odom l'shibud. When it says im lo yigol be'ele, then you have yovel. It means, listen to this: if other people who are not the family redeemed him, strange people, somebody, BSD, other people, then what? Then he becomes their slave. In other words, yeah, if his next door neighbor is not related to him, kind-hearted guy, he redeemed him, then he bought him automatically, and the Jew becomes an eved of his redeemer. Why? How does he learn the pasuk? Listen to this. It says, "V'im lo yigol be'ela," if he's not redeemed by their relatives, but by who? But by strangers, then the yotze b'shnas hayovel, from the stranger who redeemed him. In other words, what do you mean he'll go out in the year of the yovel from the stranger? Meaning the stranger became his owner. The redeemer, who was a stranger, yeah, who paid money, he becomes his owner, which is kind of logical. I bought you out, now you're mine. Yeah, don't ask me the svaras. The svaras will appear at the end of the page anyways, but I'm just giving you a little bit of the taste of it. That's Rabbi Yosef Glili. Now, Rabbi Akiva Omer, one second. Rabbi Akiva Omer, just the opposite. Be'ele l'shibud, im lo yigol be'ele, which means ele are the relatives. If your relatives redeemed you, then you become their slave. You're subjugated to the relatives, to your brother, to your uncle, to your father, yeah? B'shar kol adam l'shichu. If strangers are the ones who redeemed you, then they do not own you. How does that work with the psukim? Now, I did not explain Rabbi Akiva. The Gemara will. My time with Rabbi Yosef Glili. First of all, what's Rabbi Yosef Glili? Where does Rabbi Yosef Glili see in the psukim? When we say my time, we're not looking for reasons. We're looking for sources. Where does Rabbi Yosef Glili see the source of his words in the psukim? And again, what did Rabbi Yosef Glili say? Rabbi Yosef Glili say, Eila l'shichu, relatives, brother, oh, welcome, brother. I redeemed you, go free. And if it's strangers who redeemed him, he belongs now to the stranger who is the redeemer. Now, Omar Kro, im lo yigol be'ele, if he's not redeemed, who are eile? We have to remember at this point we think who are eile? Relatives. Because the psukim before and told you, cousin, uncle, relatives, yeah? If you're not redeemed with those guys, your relatives, el be'acher, so who's not relative? Well, a non-relative. A stranger, that's the other option. Then the yotzu b'shnas hayovel, from the relative. Then you know who you get out of Yovel from who? From the non-relative. From the non-relative, from the stranger. Meaning, you can only go out of Yovel if it's your owner. It's a Torah's way of saying that stranger now who redeemed him became the owner, and Yovel gets out of the redeemer. That is Rabbi Yosef Glili. Rabbi Akiva Omer. Rabbi Akiva is much harder to understand. Rabbi Akiva Omer. Im lo yigol ela be'ela. Very interesting. The Torah says, Rabbi Akiva says, Im lo yigol, if you want to be redeemed by the relatives, means if you want to be redeemed, but nothing but the relatives. Rabbi Akiva is turning the yes to a no. Im lo yigol ela be'ela, if he's not nigal with them, means if he want to be nigal, but nobody except for them, meaning if he will be nigal by the relatives, he's switching it in such a way that what Pasuk says means just the opposite. Then the yotzu b'shnas hayovel. Then if you are yes im lo yigol ela be'ela, which means no, double minus is a plus. If you are redeemed by your own relatives, then you're subjugated to them and you go out be'yovel from them. The obvious question is, and by the way, there's a girsa Rabbi Yossi, but there's not a girsa that says Rabbi Akiva. According to shot of the Gemara later, the claim here is obviously against Rabbi Akiva. The Gemara says, excuse me, the Rabbi Akiva, not Rabbi Yosef Glili, midi ela ela be'elaksiv. How can you add the word ela to change completely the mashmos? We're used to droshas that are sometimes far-fetched, enochinami. But to darshan something in the Torah that's just the opposite, yeah, yeah, there's not a nice joke. They ask a murderer, why do you murder? Because it says, lo sirtzach, no, lo signal, it's all a question mark, yeah. Oh, no, why not? It's all rhetorical questions. Lo sirtzach, lavdil, yeah, I'm not chas v'shalom comparing it, but the Gemara is asking, how can you make a pasuk work like that? You're telling me that the relatives, it says, im lo yigoel be'ela, if you won't be redeemed of the relatives, you make it sound like yes, redeemed of the relatives. Ela, therefore, we are now explaining the machlokes. Yeah, we are now turning the focus of attention of the machlokes to a different source. We find a different source for the machlokes. Ela b'haikro kamiflagi. This is the pasuk that they argue, and I cut the pasuk into three pieces. Yeah, I'll read it inside, and then you can see it in the papers also. The pasuk, we are now reading pasuk mem tes. It says there, three parts to the pasuk, and I'm reading it in the Gemara. You can follow it along in the paper if you want. First part of the pasuk talks to you about geula relatives, uncle, cousin. Last time I checked, they are called relatives, kroivim, right? The second part of the pasuk, yeah, oy hesiga yodoi, that is a siga yodoi. His own hand reached, which means it was within the reach of his hands. He got the beautiful call, nice email. You got 10 million Yerusha from Uncle Sam. You got 10 million in the lottery. Great. Oh, Baruch Hashem. I don't have to be in this horrible Avodah environment, open internet. No, Baruch Hashem. He's going himself. He goes to the boss, pays, the remaining 10 years, and goes home. Geulas Atzma is going himself. V'nigal, the last word in the pasuk, is the third item. Du Geulas Acherim. V'nigal, he should be redeemed in general. What do you mean general? It's not relatives. It's not himself. So it's non-relatives, right? What else is there? So basically, now we have to know how that works. We have three different geulas mentioned here, right? And we have the middle geula, who's who? Himself. We're trying to figure out which one, in which kind of geula, the relatives or the stranger, when does he go free? And when is it that he's owned by his redeemer, right? While now, one thing is obvious. The middle case, which is sandwiched in the middle, the case of him redeeming himself, that case, obviously he's free. He belongs to himself, right? He's free. That's not a question. The shaila is, who should I compare to the complete freedom? The first case, by the relatives, or the last case, the second case, the forward case, which is what? One redeemed by others. Zok the Gemara. Now everything is very clear. Rabbi Yosef Glili believes in a concept, B'chol Torah Kula, Mikra Nidrash Lefonov. We all know that psukim that are, juxtaposed, psukim that are next to each other, they teach something one to the other. Many places we say that it's not mutual. In other words, one pasuk, we have a question mark about one halacha, one pasuk, what should be done. Then you get the answer. Yeah, you get the answer of which halacha should apply from either the previous pasuk or the next pasuk. Imagine yourself an arrow going this way or an arrow going that way. Yeah, like in a photo gallery, right? You don't know what to do, go forwards, which means we don't know when shadi geulas kroivim geulas atzmoi. Take the pasuk of oy doidoy ben doidoy, that part of the pasuk. Wait, what happens? I have a question. The cousin redeemed him. Is he owned by the cousin or does he go free? Lefonov. The way to work with psukim, look forwards at the next pasuk, and you're going to get the answer. What's the next pasuk? Next thing, himself. Clearly, Magulas Atzma l'shichu. Just like clearly the middle case, which is the next case after, is what? The guy redeeming himself, obviously going free. He owns himself. Afgulas Krovim l'shichu. So too says Rabbi Yosef Glili, the relatives who are mentioned before, they too l'shichu. If relatives redeemed him, he goes free. He does not belong to them. There, Rabbi Akiva Sovar. Rabbi Akiva says the other way around. Very glat machlokes. Rabbi Akiva Sovar, mikra nidrash le'acharav. Rabbi Akiva says, no, when we're not sure what to do, you know which pasuk to go to? Forwards. The next one. Shad giulas echerim giulas atzmoi. You should compare the last pasuk, the last part, of what? Of the one who was redeemed by others, by strangers, by no blood relatives, to the Geula of himself. Ma Geulas Atzma l'shichru, al Geulas Acherim l'shichru. Yeah, in other words, yeah, Geulas Atzma is l'shichru, is free. So too, the next pasuk is learning from the previous pasuk. We're not sure what to do. A strange guy redeemed him, not related in no way. It's his next door neighbor, his friend from yeshiva, his friend from I don't know, Cheder, from the army. Well, he's redeeming. What's the halacha? Go backwards to the previous pasuk, the previous part, which tells you himself. Just like himself is obviously for free, he owns himself. So too, a non-relative goes for free. Yeah, I'm looking now in the psukim. Oy dodoy ben dodoy, not psukim, excuse me, parts of the pasuk. Oy siga yodoy v'nigal. A siga yodoy is when he is doing it by himself and he now buys himself back. Because basically in Rabbi Akiva, you compare that case to the previous or to the next. Very good, very nice. And therefore now we don't need that sticky, difficult pasuk nun daled of imloy gol be'ele, because imloy gol be'ele worked very bad with Rabbi Akiva. So let's ignore nun daled and just we have pasuk memtes backwards or forwards. All very nice. Life is not so simple. Frag the Gemara, what do you mean just leave alone the pasuk be'ele? This is the Torah. Yeah, this is not a news website, so every word matters. Yochi be'ele, lamali. So why do you need the word be'ele? Right? If the pasuk be'ele now, be'ele is redundant. Why? According to Rabbi, no, let's start even before. Let's go all the way back. According to Rabbi, what's be'ele? Be'ele is telling you be'ele excluding 6 years. They don't believe in it. Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Galila, as we'll see later, they believe that a goy does have to let him free after 6 years automatically. So they don't believe be'ele comes to that. Now, be'ele regarding owning or not owning, no. The ownership of the Redeemer, man, that was dealt with in the other pasuk. So what do you do with the pasuk be'ele? So why is the pasuk be'ele, which seems to be exclusive, only these and not others? What's it coming to exclude? Answers the Gemara. Ilav be'ele, if not for the word be'ele, hava amina, you know what I would have thought? Mikra nidrash ben lefonov, ben leachrov. Woohoo! Bonanza. Da'kol shichru. Wow. I would have said like that. If really you'd only have the pasuk of oy dodoy ben dodoy golenu, right? If we only have pasuk memtes, dodoy ben dodoy golenu, esiga yodoy benigal, that you're very smart now to tell me you either learn backwards or forwards. It's either the family who's freeing him completely without owning him, or it's the non-relatives. Why are you so smart? If not for the pasuk be'ele, which is coming to exclude something, either kroivim or the other way around, yeah, or non-relatives, I would have said, let's make a big party. And what? Hisiga yodoi, the sandwich part in the middle, applies to both the beginning and the end. And I would say he always goes free. Yeah. In other words, both relatives at the beginning of the pasuk and the non-relatives at the end of the pasuk, they both compare hisiga yodoi, mikro nidrash lefon, both. One big party. Everyone is happy together. And they're always for free, completely. Only because of the pasuk be'ele, that now comes, and now Mechlokas Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yossi Glili, the pasuk im lo yigol be'ele is telling you either to exclude what? Relatives, or to exclude the non-relatives. Very good. So we do need the pasuk unadal im lo yigol be'ele. Frag the Gemara, and soon we're going to come to the final answer, the final geula. Frag the Gemara, yeah, ihochi hada kusha leduchte. If so, the original question on Rabbi Akiva, which is a very strong question, the original question goes back to its place. Let me explain, according to Rashi, and I'm using now again the psukim. Again, you are now, yes, in need of the pasuk im lo yigol be'ele. The pasuk memtes is like a very needy pasuk. I don't know how to read it without Nundale telling me assertively im lo yigol be'ele. If he's not redeemed through those people, then if the other people redeem him, not those, then they enslave him, the from them. Now, but that pasuk, as we said, cannot be pluralistically read in different ways. No. Well, who are be'ele? Relatives. Because they're the dodo b'nei dodo mentioned before, right? So you're telling me, Rabbi Akiva, again, that was a very difficult moment in this page today. Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yosef Glili is glad. Im loy gol be'ele, dodo ben dodo. If he's not redeemed by the relatives, then what happens? Well, he's redeemed by the non-relatives. The only two types of people in the world, yeah? The non-relatives. The non-relatives got him. They, the non-relatives, they subjugate him, they enslave, and he goes by Yovel. Okay, very nice. That's Rabbi Yosef Glili. Rabbi Akiva, I want to hear what you have to say. Says the Gemara, not me. Im loy gol be'ela is im loy gol ela be'ela. He's saying if he won't be redeemed at relatives, really means he will yet be redeemed at relatives. Then he goes free. But the non-relatives, the non-relatives, they are the ones who enslave. Excuse me, the relatives are the ones who enslave. The relatives are the ones who enslave. It doesn't make sense. Because Imloi Gol Bel is the other way around. And says the Gemara. And now we still need, there's a lot of subtext here. Ela besvoro kamiflagi. They argue misvoro. Now we're going to see simple logic, why it's more logical to say that the ones who should have him for free, scot-free, are the relatives or the non-relatives. But before we do that, Rashi does here obviously an excellent job telling us, with all the nice verse we're going to see, it still has to fit into the psukim. So Rashi tells us a secret as follows. Let's read again the psukim. What did we say? Just pasuk memtes and undalid, not everything in between. In pasuk memtes, what did we say? Ododo bedodo gelenu is relatives. Oy sigayodo is himself. He got rich and he now can afford it. Yeah. Venigal. What's Venigal? Venigal is who? Non-relatives. So those psukim from Memtes until Nundalend, they related to both relatives and non-relatives. That's a lifesaver of Rabbi Akiva. We assumed all the time that Be'ela means relatives, right? True? And that really got Rabbi Akiva stuck. Says Rabbi Akiva, no. What do you want from my life? Really, Lo Yigol Be'ela can eat these. Who are these? Yeah, let's say I'm telling you, there's all of you. Yeah, I'm showing somebody, these are, there are two groups here. These are Americans, these are English. I don't say who's who. How would you know? Right? You can't tell until you open your mouth. Yeah. So in other words, yeah, who are Be'ela? The previous psukim spoke about kroivim and non-kroivim, right? So who's loy gol Be'ela? And now the pasuk is telling me if he's not nigal with X, but rather with Y, one of the two groups, then he's enslaved to group Y until the Yovel. How would I know how to read the pasuk? Pure logic. Here, Hashkafa, Baruch is going to have a nice time now. Hashkafa and philosophy are now coming in psychology. Now they're coming into the game. In other words, forget about Dodo Ben Dodo. Pasuk Memtes right now is not. Of course, we have to do something with it, but this pasuk is not playing a role right now. Pasuk Nundalid is telling you if he's not redeemed with those, either relatives or non-relatives, because both are mentioned. This Rabbi Akiva is now good. Rabbi Akiva has been answered. Then, if he's not nigal with those, but rather with the other those, in English it's good, these and those, right? Not with these, but with those, yeah. Then we say what? Then the other group takes him as their slave automatically, halachically, and then he goes from them in the Yovel. Well, how do you know how to read the pasuk? By svara. When you read the Torah, you're not a tipish. You have heilige tanoim to help you read the Torah, and now the tanoim argue how to read the Torah. What's a logical way to read the psukim? Ela b'svoro kamiflagi. Rabbi Yosef Glili Sova. Rabbi Yosef Glili Sova like this. Mistabra makes sense to me, says Rabbi Yosef Glili. Geulas acherim l'shibud makes sense to me that the way to read the will of the Torah is Geulas acherim l'shibud, that other people, the strangers, the non-relatives, if they redeem him, they should own him. Why? It's called incentive. It's called trophy. It's called, incentivizing. The omet l'shichu, if the person spent good money and lobbying and everything by freeing the hostages, I mean to say, the Eved Ivri from the Goy, avumimnei v'lo yipalkilei, they would basically refrain from it and they're not going to redeem him unless they get the money. Basically, it says not everybody is willing to work l'shem shamayim. Sometimes to work not l'shem shamayim is better because you're more incentivized. You're going to do a better job. Chash told me, I think B'Shem, I'm not sure who. I don't want to say Hashem big rabbanim. Sometimes when you do things with your own interest, and you're aware of it, it's your interest, like a big project, a big job. Sometimes it's good. You just do it better. You do a better job. That's who we are. Yeah. So Lamaisa says, basically, let's get pragmatic, okay? Not everyone is willing to start spending millions on buying a lot of money. Yeah, we're talking about buying a person. Yeah. So therefore, if Lamaisa that Redeemer is going to get him as his own slave, that will be a great incentive. Now, if he's so nice and so generous and such a philanthrope, Vivakasha, he doesn't have to own him. It's his permission. Yeah, it's prerogative. Very nice. But Lamaisa says, is relatives. Your own brother, your own sister, your own thing, your own father, your own son. We assume that point, if that's a relationship, you don't need money in order to be incentivized, in order to be, energized to do that. You're self-motivated. You don't need to be motivated with money. If you're a relative, eigene bride. Rabbi Akiva Sova, very interesting the other way around. Basically, they're arguing like the argument we have today, to free the hostages or not. Similar. Rabbi Akiva Sova, Mistabra, makes sense. Yulas Kroivim l'shibud. Dafka the Kroivim, if they redeem him, then what's going to happen? I believe they should now own him. Why? The brother was Mishabed, redeemed him. The brother should own him. If the brother wants, and we support the brother wants to own his own brother, Ben Dodo, because he redeemed him. Yes, says Rabbi Akiva. If you say that the relative will free him and then free him, let him free and not own him completely, Kol Yomi v'Yomi Ozol Maz B'Nafshei is going to do it again. In other words, the Yid will say, hey, I'm short for cash. This is an easy way out of debt. I'll sell myself to Tim McKenzie, who's a very nice guy, but has in his house Avodah Zorah, Gilo Arayas, and unfiltered internet, and very big screens of TV in every possible corner. And I'll go and live in his house, and I'll get money. What? You think it's suffering to live there? Yeah, of course. No, I don't want to be like him, and I don't like him so much. It is, but I know my rich brother will redeem me, and then I'll go free. He has too much of an easy way out. His way out of slavery by the goy is too easy. The relatives, the mishpach, will always have rachmanus, right? And if they set him free, it's double trouble. They'll have rachmanus, they'll always redeem him again and again, spoiling the little kid, was always getting into trouble. And then what's going to happen? That unfortunately happens. And then what? And then they'll free him. They'll go free, and they'll do it again and again. That's why we actually want to make it a little bit difficult for Mr. Perpetual addicted to be, sold. Yeah, that's a new addiction, to be sold as an eved. Why? By doing what? By saying that the relatives should own him. Then he won't be so happy. In other words, we assume that the ones who are going to redeem him are the relatives more than other people, right? The relatives, you want to be owned by your own brother, by your uncle, by your cousin? I'm not sure. So think again before you sell yourself to TM. That's the Svar of Rabbi Akiva. So at the end of the day, it boils down to Svaris. Okay? I just want to continue one more line and then I'll be with you. What I promised you before, which means Rabbi Glili and Rabbi Akiva, what do they say? Either the relatives or the non-relatives, if they redeem, if they take him out of a hostage of Avdus, then what? One of them owns him right away. Either the relative, right, according to Rabbi Akiva, non-relative Rabbi Glili. Aval Chachamim say no. Chachamim say once you redeem the Yid from the hand of the Goy, he goes free, whether you're related or not related. He always goes free completely. Man Chachamim. Who are those Chachamim? Rebbe. The Rebbe from before. Why? I'll say it later. I want to hear your questions, and then I'll repeat and go weiter. Yes, Ellen, what's your question? Let's start. Omer b'yochanan zuda v'b'yesi glil v'b'yakiva. Aval chachamim oimrim. Chachamim say hakol l'shichu. Chachamim, who are really Rebbe, they say either relatives or non-relatives redeem the Yid from the Oved of the Zorah, he goes free, completely free. Man chachamim Rebbe. How do you know Rebbe is the one who believes that he goes completely free? The mapikle lehai be'ele ledosha achrina, which means, what was the pasuk, the very, very tricky, difficult pasuk, which we managed to learn at the end of the day? be'ele. The pasuk I'm reading again inside. Pasuk nudalid. Im lo yigol be'ele. If he's not redeemed with those, either relatives or non-relatives, if he's nigal with the other relatives, non-relatives, yeah, then he becomes the slave of the other, of the non-ele. Very nice. Well, Rabbi Yossi Glili doesn't believe in that. Excuse me, Rebbe doesn't believe in that. What did he do with the pasuk be'ele? With the word be'ele, excluding what? Excluding sheish, excluding 6 years. So he has the word be'ele telling me something else. Very good. Ledrosh achina. Umika nidrosh ben lefanu ben le'achro. Very nice. What about the other pasuk with the 3 parts? The sandwich pasuk, right? Doido ben doidoi, and then siga yodoi, and then igolenu. Says Rabbi Yossi Glili, I love everybody. I believe the sandwich case, the middle case, relates to both beginning and end, which means all 3 cases, himself, his friends, or his relatives, in all 3 cases, goes for free. Very nice. Very good. So now the question is obviously should be asked, Rebbe, why does Rabbi Yossi Glili need the posuk v'yotzu b'shnas hayovel? Now, Rabbi Yossi Glili, what does he say? We explained that the posuk v'yotzu b'shnas hayovel goes on who? On one of the redeemers, right? Either relatives or non-relatives. True? Rabbi Yossi Glili doesn't believe in that. He believes whoever frees him doesn't get him. So who's yotzu b'shnas hayovel? The guy. If nobody redeemed, as I told you at the very beginning, what's the posuk shot of the posuk? If nobody redeemed him, he's still stuck by McKinley and O'Reilly, by the priest, by the boxer. I don't know where he's now, by the club. I don't know where he ended up being. And then what? He stays there till the Yovel. Says the Gemara, why do I need the pasuk to tell me he goes out in Yovel? I'm asking, what do you mean? How would have I known that he goes by Yovel from a goy? He goes out by Yovel from a goy. Look at Tosfos. The last very short and sweet Tosfos at the very, very, very bottom of the page. The Rebbe The Gemara is not asking what is this pasuk coming to tell me. Obviously, the pasuk is telling you that he does not leave the guy's hands, authority, domain, until when? Till Yovel. So what do you mean what's the pasuk coming to tell me? It's coming to tell me that he stays there till the Yovel. Am I a prophet? I would have known that. Says Tosfos, no. Elachi bai. That's a question. Am I nokot b'shnas Yovel? Why is the Torah telling me b'shnas Yovel? V'aksi b'koachrina shnas Yovel. If you read the psukim in our printed paper, it says the word Yoitze b'Yovel a few times. So this is poshet a redundant pasuk. The pasuk doesn't have to tell me again that he is staying till the Yovel, right? We know, yeah, he stays by the goy. I understand. But to tell me that the cutoff point is Yovel, it's been mentioned already twice before. So why do you need to tell me again, yeah, that the other option of the guy is staying till the Yovel? I know that. Answers the Gemara, and this is answering Baruch's question. The Oived Koichovim Sheyesh Notachas Yodcho. Baruch's question is being answered now. We're talking about an Oived Koichovim who is under our power, who has been, he's now forced to live. He doesn't live like a Jew. He's not in Ger Toishov. Yeah, V'horaya, in his house he has a Zara TV, unfiltered internet. Yeah, so this guy is not a tzaddik b'chlal. He's not a ben noyach. However, he's yesh netachas yodcha. He is under our law, under our jurisdiction. He's under our rules. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the way it goes. So now, and therefore what? And what's the chiddush in that? The chiddush is as follows. The chiddush is if he's under our fist, under our power, then what do you mean? What do you mean? You allow a Jew to stay in his house, and we're not happy with that. And nobody redeemed him. Nobody has money to redeem him, and you let him stay. We should go to his house with the police and get the guy out. We don't do that. You see, Jews are so humanistic. Yeah, v'chule, v'chule. And we see that although we could have gone to his house and just take him out, or the Gemara in Daf Kuf Yud Gimel, we're going to see it in Tosfos if we have time actually. Yeah, gives all kinds of other options. At least we can trick him. We can trick him and play all kinds of games. We'll pay. We won't pay. We can engineer him out, the Jew, out of the hands of the goy because he's under us, right? Kamash Malan, we don't do that. Even that Oived Kachavim, really, we wait nicely until the Yovel. If there are no real legal ways of redeeming with full money, with full payment, we'll let him stay until the Yovel, right? Yeah, you see how Torah is so moral to the goy. Give me 1 minute and I promise I'll listen to you. Frag the Gemara, how do you know? That's very nice and humanistic, and that could be a nice video to show the BBC, so they're going to start liking us or something, right? For sure, yeah. No, they don't like us because we just bomb hospitals for no reasons. You also, what do you mean? Why do you stand bomb a hospital of innocent people with nothing to do with terror? It's not nice. Oh, yeah, no, Ella. Oh, Ella, lebovet kechovim shenu tachas yodcho. Maybe not. Maybe he talks about an Ovid Kechovim who's not under your hand. He's an Ovid Kechovim who's not listening to us. Maybe he's the one who's what you leave him there by Yovel. Says the Gemara, no, Marta v'chima efshalasas loy, right? That guy, he won't listen to you by Yovel either. If it's a guy with big muscles and a gun who doesn't care about our laws at all, or no big muscles, no gun, but he doesn't care about Jewish law, he's not under our jurisdiction, then the whole pasuk doesn't make sense. As Baruch was saying, which guy would listen to that? He bought a very nice Eved. He's a southerner. He bought a nice Eved for millions, and then some nice Jewish guy with a white beard comes and tells him, it's Yovel in 10 years, so you have to redeem him. Says, sir, what do you want from my life? Get out of my house. I bought an Eved for life. Yeah, what are you talking about? He'll stay in my plantation until forever, until Abraham Lincoln comes. Yeah, Shtuyot. Yeah, he won't listen to that. The only one who would basically cooperate with the Yovel system, I do accept to say about Ben Noach, but let's leave that for a side now. Even if he's not a Ben Noach, the Ovid Kechovim who's forced to live under us. Yeah, he has to listen to our laws. I could come to the police and take him out, the Yid. We still don't do that, and we say that you have to wait until the Yovel, and then he goes free. Questions, and then if we have time, we'll see the Tosfos today. As far as I know, without looking inside, but as far as I know from the Simonim of the Ein Mishpat, halacha is like Rebbe. In other words, there is no 6 years by a goy. Yeah, in other words, by goy owning a Jew, there's either buying him out of the goy, that's the best option, or wait until the Jubilee, until the Yovel, or, I'm sorry, and the other way is that the goy, the other halacha is that once redeemed from the goy, either by relatives or non-relatives, the Jew goes completely free. Okay, so it's all like Rebbe and not like Rabbi Yisrael and Rabbi Akiva. Okay, good to go. Can you continue to Tosfos questions? Okay, Zog Tosfos. The Ovid, we'll see how much we can do in 5 minutes. The Ovid Kechovim Shesh Natachas Yodcho Tes Zayin Amud Aleph. Yeah, so this Ovid Kechovim is under our hand. Yeah, and yet we let the Yid stay by that guy until the Yovel. Here's Bekuntes. Rashi, Tosfos brings down Rashi. Im lo yigal, yishtabed boy ad Yovel. Im lo yigoel, actually, if he's not redeemed, then the guy, mishtabed, subjugates him, owns him, until Yovel. Ve'ena tarasha lo ve'olav be'akifin. What Rashi said is not by force, although it's also true as far as I understood from learning the Sugya. Even be'akifin you can't come. In other words, let's say, I did say that too. Trickery, we can get very machari. Yeah, we can get very, to tell him we'll pay you later, pay you now. In other words, you don't play shtick with a guy. I could force him out of his house with the police. I'm being nice, that I'm talking to him nicely, like white collar kind of discussion, and maybe I can somehow get the boy out of the house of the goy, with all kinds of ways like this. We don't do that. You have to play fair. The Gemara in Bava Kama Kuf Yud Gimel, Amud Aleph, Amud Beis, says Chilul Hashem. There's also an aspect of Chilul Hashem, right? What's going to be the headlines? The Jewish BSD tricked Mackenzie and got the Jew out of his house. We don't want that. Yeah, that's Chilul Hashem. It's being unfair. Okay. Dim Toimar, Frek Tosfos, excuse me, asks Tosfos, this is very nice, but why should this be the source? Tepukle, I have another source to teach me the same idea. Right? In other words, it says in the other pasuk, what was our whole problem? We said that the pasuk is an extra pasuk. Well, this halacha, that you have to leave him by the Yovel without playing tricks and shticks and without forcing, you learn from this pasuk. There's another pasuk here. It says, Chishavim konehu. Chishavim koneh says you should calculate the years. You sit with Mackenzie and you tell him, about the Jubilee year. Yeah, I know about that. And you know that it's coming in 10 years' time. And you paid, 50 million for the Jew. So now, get 20 million out of the 50 and get him out. 49, you have the 20, 19, get 19 million and get him out. You calculate according to how the proximity of the Yovel. So you see, we're being very fair and very exact. So there's another pasuk. So why do you need our pasuk to tell me that you're being very yakish and very straight and honest with the goy owner? And continues to ask the question. Because again, as you said, as Yosef said, and I think you're on the same page, yeah, if it's an Eved Kochovim who doesn't listen to you, then he won't listen to you anyways. What do you mean you calculate nicely into the Yovel? A guy who's living by American law, let's say, but not by the Jewish law, would say, which Yovel? Don't come to me with your nice smiles and calculators being honest with me. I just don't listen to your laws. I'm not saying not nice words, yeah? I don't listen to your laws at all. So obviously we're talking to someone who is within our system. And we already have another pasuk to tell me that you're being nice and honest. So why do you need two psukim again to say the same thing? What did you gain already? Two psukim telling you to be good and honest with the purchase of the boy out of the goy. Shloimar. Awesome. Over there, Hava Mina, I would have thought the Meir be'ovid kochovim she'eno tachas yodcho. Just from the pasuk of calculating nicely, I would have said, yes, it's a guy who's not forced. Baruch, here you come. It's not a guy who's forced to listen to us because we conquered him. The Osikro Lemeim, if it's a guy who doesn't listen to us, so he doesn't care about Yovel. Osikro Lemeimar, Shimodin lo esadin lo evet kechavim, imir tzolishma lekabel olav din Torah. Why does it have to be, everything has to be by force? Do some hasbara, do some kiruv to the guy. Let's say it's a guy who is not a guy who has to listen to us. He's not under us, but maybe there's a strong havamina to say that the guy that you have to sit and calculate the chishav and play very fair with him is a guy who you give him a nice hashkafa shmuz, yeah, and you say, listen, this is our religion. It's so nice. We got the Torah from Moses and all this. And on our Torah, it says that by the 50th year, you have to let him go. Yeah, we're not forcing you, but if you'd like to, would really appreciate it. You get a nice guy from the City Hall of New York who knows how to talk to guy. You get a guy from Esha Torah. They talk nicely to the guy, and they talk him into what? Into doing the deal. Oh, we're not losing anything. You paid 50. We'll give you 20. Maybe it'd listen. Maybe it'd listen. Give it a try. Maybe that's what the Torah is telling you. Yeah, Chishavim koneh. Be nice. Try. Had we said that, what would be B'avid Kechovim sheyesh no tachas yodcho? The B'avid Kechovim who is under your hand, then, if we use the pasuk for the goy who's not under us, and we have to convince, what happens with the goy who's under our rule, and the police can come to his house? Havamina, I would have said, lo netiv leklal. I would have said, don't give him any money, snatch him out, right? The goy who's under us. What do you mean you don't want to give the goy? You're under Jewish law. Come, Moishale, come from the house, leave the TV screen alone, leave the computer, come with me home. Yeah, and the guy doesn't have anything to say. The police is going to come to him. That's what I would have said. He's under us. Who's asking him? Mashmalano, Hokra. That's why I need two psukim. The Aiter, Shalihabi Yovel Ksivu B'Parsha. A lot of Yovels are written in the Parsha to tell you, Loimer, Shafilu Yochel Otzir Bal Kochoy, Lo Tovel of Bakifin. Even though you can take him, what did they tell you before? Baal kochoy. I can force him out. I can call the police and take him out. It's the 50th year, mister. And yet, maybe at least I can engineer him. I'm being nice, I'm giving him anything. Kamash malan, velo yetzem ken ishalem kesef. Oh, I'm not reading the whole thing. It's late. Yeah, that's a chiddush. There are two psukim. One pasuk is telling me what, at least, or what I would have thought, that a guy who doesn't have to listen to us, do some hasbara, some kiruv, try to get him out nicely. Yeah, and the one who is even forced by us, can be forced by us, him too. We treat him nicely, and we don't force him out. We don't play shtick with him. We actually pay fairly, even to the guy who is under us, because at the end of the day, shouldn't be chilul Hashem, shouldn't be maybe gzelas guy. Yeah, and therefore that's where it should go. Atzlacho, brocha, may all the hostages, all of them, men, women, and children, be freed very soon. By no other than Mashiach Tzidkenu should come now, today. Be'ezrat Hashem, Atzlocho u'Barocho. Thank you to everyone on Torah Anytime YouTube and everybody here in Avos Shalom. Thank you. Have a great day.